We turn now to Nova Scotia, where 14 wildfires are burning across the province, 3 of them considered to be out of control. One of them is just outside Halifax and has already damaged or destroyed 200 homes and businesses.
I think it's obvious that we all feel so strongly for those people who are finding out that they haven't got a home to return to. The foremost thing we can do is stop this damn fire.
Officials say hot, dry weather is making fighting the fires difficult. More than 16,000 people have been out of their homes for several days now, and today the province put in a formal request for federal assistance. Nova Scotia's Premier Tim Houston joins me now. Premier, I know you're run off your feet. Thank you so much for taking the time. You've made a formal request for help from the federal government. What do you need? What's the response been?
Yeah, so I think the discussions have been ongoing really all week with the federal government and different, mutual aid organizations and associations. And, we have lots of support from Newfoundland, who has water tankers here, flying, dropping water. New Brunswick had 3 here. New Brunswick sent 8 here today. So, that's great with that support, and firefighters coming from PEI and other provinces chipping in as well. So there's been ongoing discussions all week, and the municipalities in the province are working well. The federal government, we've had discussions, but we've kind of formalized everything, every request in one place with them today. But we need everything from firefighters to helicopters to drop water on the situations, to the foam that comes out of the hoses, to vehicles. Really, the ask of the federal government is extensive, and it's extensive because the response is unprecedented to the fires, but the fires themselves are unprecedented. We have, these will most likely turn out to be the biggest fires in the history of Nova Scotia, and they're all happening at the same time. And our responses our resources are stretched really thinly across the province. So we need help from the federal government. We've been having those discussions. We made the formal ask, and we're hopeful that they'll respond, just like Nova Scotians have responded and really stepped up to help each other here.
Yeah, I've got a copy of the letter that you sent to the federal government, and like the bullet points just go on and on and on, right? It's everything from hoses to foam to helicopters. But one thing that jumps out to me, Premier, is like modular housing or underused military housing where you can put people, because 16,000 people being evacuated in a province the size of Nova Scotia. I mean, where do they all go? I mean, is there enough hotel capacity and other things to accommodate that kind of dislocation?
Yeah, so comfort centers have been set up. We're working with the universities, and maybe if there's a space in the residencies and the dorms. But Nova Scotia is a super tight-knit province, so a lot of people are with friends and relatives, and people are kind of stepping up, opening their home to strangers. I talked to somebody who's staying in a stranger's home, just somebody they met who said, "Well, come and stay at my house." So there's a lot of that happening, but also the housing needs are for housing the firefighters and the first responders who are moving around the province trying to get closer to the fires too, to help in the response. So yeah, the ask of the federal government is extensive, and I think we're also saying and asking the federal government to, just because it's not a bullet point on that list, you see the need in this province, you understand the crisis we're in. So if you happen to know that you have something, an asset or trained people or something that can help, then let's get moving on that too. We can figure out the paperwork later. This is not the time for paperwork. This is the time for action and response. So we're hopeful that that response will come. But look, in the meantime, Nova Scotians are really kind of stepping up here. But the fire situation is serious, and it's absolutely devastating. We lost homes in Tantallon, and the fire in Shelburne is a massive fire, and it's taking homes and structures at this time as well. So it's heartbreaking. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday with in areas where firefighters were, in that comfort center, talking to Nova Scotians, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of tears on both sides of those discussions. It's really heartbreaking.
Premier, it's late May, tomorrow's June. This is, we're both Atlantic Canadians. This is not the time of year when it's scorching hot on the East Coast. I mean, how worried are you about that this is happening at such a scale so early in the season?
Yeah, the fire season's really just started, and we have, I think the number's about almost 200 fires in the province to date in the fire season. Normally, in the whole entire season through to the fall, we get somewhere around 70 or 80. So it's been an active season. But when I say that number of 200 so far, it's kind of a shocking number to Nova Scotians, because many times they don't know, because the firefighters and the natural resources teams are so quick to get in there and knock these things back. But right now, super dry conditions, it's a really dry spring, didn't have much snow this winter. windy conditions. But also a lot of these fires probably we haven't had any lightning, so the assumption is most of these fires have been started by human activity in some way, shape, or form. Just that somebody with accident, naive, didn't know, or stupidity, flicked a cigarette butt or something. I don't know, like who knows? But we can't have that. That's why we put the total burn ban in place. That's why we're restricting movement in the woods. Can't go in the woods. But we need some help from the weather, and we're praying for rain here right now.
You're praying for rain, but what's the likelihood of that? I mean, everything I've seen today suggests it's not going to be a good weather mix for you over the next couple of days.
Today the conditions, the last few days, obviously with the growth of these fires, the last few days, the conditions have certainly favored the fires. They've been windy and pushing and fueling these fires. So those fires have been favored, not the firefighters. It looks like today wasn't a good day for fighting fires. Tomorrow, it's not looking to be a good day for fighting fires. So, but hopefully into the weekend the conditions will change. So we're optimistic in some of the forecasts we see, but we have a couple more days to get through. There's no question about that, and that's why it's so important that we support the first responders that are there. We support the firefighters. We support the effort by doing our part to not have a burn, to not go in the woods. I'm optimistic Nova Scotians will respond to that and step up.
I know a couple of years ago when we had a very big wildfire season in Western Canada, often when these things happen, as you mentioned, Newfoundland and New Brunswick has sent you water bombers, right? The provinces all move assets around and help, but then you get to a point where you get tapped out. And Alberta is still dealing with the situation. So is that in any way inhibiting the capacity to get the sort of the reinforcements and the surge that you're kind of looking for right now?
Yeah, I think so. There's a natural mutual aid system across the country, a national system, and but yeah, everyone's concerned. Everyone has their own situation. So we had at the start of these fires, we had 20 firefighters who were in another part of the country because somebody had help,
Right.
asked for help. We had the resources, so we sent them. Now they're on their way back. Now we're the ones asking for help. So I know that the system of resource allocation is one that's been in place for a while. I have faith in that system, but absolutely the conditions across the country are making it difficult for people and provinces to mobilize resources to come here. But still, in spite of that, they are mobilizing resources to come here and help, and we're forever thankful for that.
So I know the letter has just landed really in federal hands with your official formal request, but they moved pretty quickly to respond to Alberta. Are you getting the indications you're going to get what you need or what they can give you from the federal government pretty quickly?
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I mean, certainly it's been the ask is known, the need is known. So now it's the action, the response, and I have to have faith that that response will come just as quickly as possible, because it's obvious to everyone what's happening here. We can use the help, we can deploy the help. So if the help can come, then let's get it here, and I believe that's the spirit of which the letter will be received in.